Good morning, good afternoon, I don't know. At least we had our coffee and we are going to resume this session of speeches. And here in this table, um, and here I have Isidro Arquero, who is going to speak about GeoBase. And here we have different uh, things, and it's very important for those of us working on this uh, issue for long years. So then we have Isidro Arquero that is going to speak on GeoBase, the geographical information system of the registry of properties in Spain. We have Julian González also, and Jose Luis Sala and Francisco José Peñarrubia, who are going to speak about something which is extremely interesting, which is tools for the inventory of urban infrastructures, linear urban infrastructures, and traceability of network elements. I use this tool for teaching that to my students in civil engineering, and I can guarantee these are wonderful tools. So I'm expecting what he's going to say about this. And finally, I have my colleague Thomas. And we met in different gvSIG meetings, and we have a very good relationship with the University of Jaén, and he's teaching, Thomas is teaching in the University of Jaén, so he's going to speak about the use of gvSIG in the studies of grade and master in geomatic engineering of the Jaén University. And I'm going to give the floor to Isidro Arquero for him to talk about GeoBase. Sorry, but the microphone is not working. I don't know if it's switch off. The microphone is not working.
Tiene el micro abierto. Tiene cerrado.
They started to work with a tool on a map, on plots, and that was the only thing you could only draw. And for many years, depending on the needs, they created a SIG in order to be able to exploit not only the graphic part, but also all the other data which are contained in the registry of properties. So what we are doing is based in the system of graphic bases. The system of graphic bases. For those of you who doesn't know it, is a translation of images of the territory, and what they have in their books. These translations in the books, which sometimes are the property of this gentleman, is. And sometimes you have to localize that plot can be very difficult, and what we are doing is to put that on an orthophotographic reality. The mesh of graphic data. So it could be the graphic translation of the data contained in the legal base. This is the property of that person, and here we have the different links. The recovery of those bases are done by technicians of the registry. They obtain the data from the paper registry, and they know which is the property that has been registered, and they are also supported and other supports the knowledge. My grandfather has a living here for his whole life, and then I know this is in that place. So this is based on the law, and that says that the registrars they will have information technology or computerized applications for treatment of graphic bases, allowing its coordination with the properties. The application, what it is doing is based on a series of applications. It's translating the registry through the application and creates a mesh, and here we have the mesh of graphic basis system, and here we have a gvSIG which has been modified in order to adapt it to the needs of the client, which is the registry. And here we see a change. After working with customers, we saw we didn't want it to neglect the map. The map was the main thing, and is very important. And then they were when you wanted to consult. Then you were overlapping this, and that was a lateral component in which you could consult all the alphanumerical or graphical information to a graphical base, and the technician can do that in a very simple way. So this could be a block of alphanumerical data, which can be consulted by a technician selecting a plot, and then you can consult the metadata, which are leading us to know why it is there and not in a different place. So I know that it is in this location because we have been doing a previous study, and we know what it is here. We can save, we can modify. You can also consult cadastre information. We can see all the information that is overlapped with a cadastre plot. And basically, the basic things are here. We have the register sheet, and we refer to a given property. The configuration is painting it, and also cross it with metadata of graphic basis system. And once I have this in the map, I'm going to see which is the legal reality, and then is the coordination with the cadastre. Well, in the registry page, they can use the number, the surface, and other data which can help, which are purchases, also mortgages, and many other things. Well, here we had many tools which are tailored tools, and here we can. This is the search panel, and here we can be the identifier or the ID of this plot. Here we have the cadastre reference, and that leads to the graphical cadastre reference. This would be a registered property. The configuration could be the addition. I have metadata here, and I have here the different data, the different panel. I have tailored tools in order to be able to edit this layer of information, and we have other layers of information so that the technicians can also quickly paint the different plots in order to avoid overlappings and all these things. Then here we have so that the registrar is adding the different data, which are the metadata metadata panels, the property can have a description in the registry if compared to reality coincides. That means I draw a plot which has walls and the surface given by the tool is more or less adequate to the surface that has been declared, that the owner has declared, and then that plot, that property would be yellow. That means that it has no defect in the registry or any data missing. If in the other hand, there are differences in surface or apparent differences in what I see in the ortho image and the data contain, that means that the copy of the layer does not correspond to the surface, then this could be in red, and that means that there are things missing or any other problem. There may be different questions, many other problems which are collected in metadata, and this is done by the registrar. This is that corresponds to the reality, also to the cadastre. So then this property is a yellow one. Then we will have a coordination procedure that analyzes what is in the registry with the cadastre in order to see which are the problems that may exist between the registry and the cadastre. This tool has solved many coordination problems. For instance, payment of excess or defect of IBI, which is a tax that we have in Spain on properties. If this is a cadastre reality, which is a small hill with a road, this is the registrar reality. Anybody may say this has no sense, there are parcels over the road, but this is what exists in the cadastre. This can be due to many different I don't know which can be the origin of this It could be a reparceling, it could be any other thing, but we have those cases. We have all the states of coordination between a cadastre parcel, and here in the next block we have the coordination elements. If the reference that appears in the registry is similar to the difference that corresponds to the owner of the property, sometimes you can change the cadastral references. Sometimes they made a mistake and put the cadastral reference that corresponds to another owner. Yesterday somebody was telling us about two persons that one has the ownership, the theoretical or the legal ownership of the neighbor's house, and that can be coordinated. This is an almost automatic process. There are some comparison elements that have to be added by hand, but mostly is done automatically, and you can do an analysis of surfaces and the surface which is in the plot, the graphical surface. All this is analyzed, and that depends on the state of coordination that it has with registry, because we can analyze. And then we can see where would we be if this is okay. We can also have access to the coordination, information of coordination. This would be the decision flow that took us to those cases, which are states that are considered. We are coordination states in a registry. Each one of these labels tells us the state in which the register plot is. Here we have the different states and status. This can generate reports for the owner, how what do they have to do in case that there are disagreements between the reality of his or her property and any other legal data. We can do metadata. We can manage the history, and also it has a documentary manager and a documentary manager of drawings, situation drawings, descriptive drawings, associated information that may be useful, environmental, urban development information, and that has a utility that allows us to configure these things and generate a report on this work, and this allows us to draw report, coordination report, graphic basis. This is a coordination report. Here we have the graphic base and the cadastre page, and that could give us the analysis done by the machine with the surfaces, and in case that we have to do some rectification, what should be done. This is the architecture on which we are based. We have a gvSIG modified with a series of modules, and we have Hibernate and in the evolution, what we are having, laws are changing, the cadastre, and we are preparing a tool for this, for the next law. One of the things in which we are working is an environmental regulations catalog, which is gathering together all the catalog of regulations, and we are generating a layer, and that the registry of the property can have access to all those layers. so that they have the regulations regarding the property, and being able to provide information to the users or the proprietors about cultural places or about a protected area, whatever it is, so that they can ask for subsidies, or informing the property that he or she cannot do some specific actions in the property. And we are implementing this with the management platform of the registry. The plots will be able to be done, and there are many developments which are still open, also in web issues and so on. Thank you very much for your attention, and that's all by me.